The drink package on your next cruise costs somewhere between $60 and $105 per day. That is the number you will see on the cruise line's website. That is the number you will compare against other cruise lines. And that is the number that is wrong. It is wrong because it does not include the 18 to 20% gratuity that gets added on top of the advertised price, a charge that most cruise lines do not show you until checkout or until you see the final total on your onboard account. On a 7-night Royal Caribbean cruise, that hidden gratuity alone adds roughly $95 to $130 per person to what you thought you were paying. On Norwegian, it is even more. By the end of this video, you will know 10 specific things about cruise drink packages that bartenders and repeat cruisers understand, but first-time passengers almost never figure out until the trip is over and the money is already spent. These are not generic tips. These are the details that change whether your drink package saves you $300 or costs you $300 you did not need to spend. And the first one is the one that the cruise lines are counting on you not knowing. The gratuity on your drink package is not a tip you choose to leave. It is a mandatory surcharge added to the purchase price. And it applies whether you buy the package online before your cruise or on the ship on embarkation day. On Royal Caribbean, it is 18%. On Celebrity, if you buy the package standalone outside of an all-inclusive bundle, it is 20%. On Carnival, it is 20% as of December 2025. On Norwegian, it is 20%. These percentages are applied to the daily rate, then multiplied across every day of your cruise. So when you see a Royal Caribbean Deluxe beverage package listed at $77 per day, your actual cost is not $77, it is $90.86. Over 7 nights, that is $636 per person, not $539. For a couple, the difference between the advertised price and the real price is nearly $200. And that number does not appear clearly on most booking pages until you are deep into the checkout process. This is not a secret. It is published in the fine print. But the cruise lines know that most passengers look at the headline number, do their mental math against that number, and make their buying decision before the gratuity ever enters the equation. The very first thing you should do before deciding whether a drink package is worth it is add the gratuity to the daily rate and work with the real number. Everything else in this video depends on you knowing that number first. The second thing bartenders wish passengers understood is that the drink in your hand right now is probably not the best drink your package covers. When you order a vodka soda, a rum and coke, or a gin and tonic without specifying a brand, the bartender will pour the house liquor. That is the cheapest spirit behind the bar. It is functional. It will get the job done. But your drink package almost certainly covers brands that are significantly better. On Royal Caribbean's deluxe beverage package, any drink priced at $14 or under is included. That covers a wide range of premium spirits. On Norwegian's unlimited open bar through the More at Sea program, included brands range from Grey Goose vodka to Hendrick's gin to Casamigos tequila to Woodford Reserve bourbon. These are not bottom-shelf bottles. These are genuinely good spirits that would cost you $15 to $20 a pour at a decent bar on land. But the bartender will never offer them unless you ask. They are trained to pour well unless you specify otherwise. Here is how to use this. Before your cruise, look up the list of brands included in your specific drink package. Most cruise lines publish this on their website, or it can be found on cruise forums. Save it on your phone. When you walk up to the bar, do not say, "I will have a vodka soda." Say, "I will have a Grey Goose soda." Do not say rum and coke. Say Diplomatico and coke. Do not say a gin and tonic. Say Hendrick's and tonic. You are paying the same amount either way. The package covers all of it, but the experience in your glass is completely different. A well vodka in a soda tastes like rubbing alcohol with bubbles. A Grey Goose in a soda tastes clean, smooth, and worth what you paid. You already bought the package. Drink what the package actually gives you. The third hack is the one that changes the entire break-even math, and almost nobody factors it in. Every major cruise line drink package includes non-alcoholic beverages, not just water and juice. Specialty coffees, lattes, cappuccinos, espressos, smoothies, fresh pressed juices, bottled water. Energy drinks, premium teas. On most ships, a single specialty coffee at the coffee bar costs $5 to $7. A smoothie runs $6 to $8. A bottled water is $3 to $4. If you are someone who has a latte in the morning, a bottled water at the pool, a smoothie after lunch, and a cappuccino in the afternoon, you have already spent $20 or more in non-alcoholic beverages before your first cocktail. Over 7 days, that is $140 in drinks you were going to buy anyway. Factor that into your break-even calculation, and suddenly you do not need 6 or 7 cocktails per day to make the package worth it. You need 3 or 4, plus the coffees and waters you were already planning to drink. Most break-even guides online only count alcoholic drinks. They tell you the package costs $85 a day after gratuity. Drinks cost $14 each, so you need 6 drinks to break even. That math ignores $20 to $30 a day in non-alcoholic value that the package also covers. When you add the coffees, the waters, the smoothies, and the sodas back into the equation, the real break even drops to 4 or 5 alcoholic drinks for most passengers. That is a completely different decision. 4 cocktails spread across a full day at sea, from a poolside frozen drink at noon, to a glass of wine at dinner, to a nightcap at the piano bar, is a normal, comfortable pace for most adults on vacation. The package starts making financial sense much sooner than most people realize once you count everything it covers. The fourth hack involves the single most expensive day you will have with your drink package, and it is the day you are not on the ship. Port days are package killers. If your 7-night cruise has 4 port days and 3 sea days, you are paying for 7 full days of unlimited drinks, but realistically only using the package heavily on 3 of them. On port days, most passengers leave the ship by 8 or 9 in the morning and do not return until 4 or 5 in the afternoon. That is 8 or 9 hours where your package is sitting unused while you pay for drinks at a beach bar on land. Some experienced cruisers deliberately choose itineraries with more sea days specifically because the drink package delivers more value when you are on the ship all day. A 7-night cruise with 5 sea days and 2 port days gives you 5 full days of unlimited drinking from morning coffee to midnight cocktails. The same package on an itinerary with 5 port days gives you only 2 full days of heavy use. The per-day cost is identical. The value you extract is dramatically different. If your itinerary is port-heavy, consider skipping the package entirely and paying per drink. You might spend less overall than the package costs, especially if you are the kind of traveler who spends most of your port days exploring on land and only drinks heavily in the evenings. The drink package is not automatically the smart choice on every sailing. It depends on how many days you will actually be on the ship with nothing to do but relax. Fifth hack is one that saves money before you even board. Buy your drink package before the cruise, not on the ship. Every major cruise line charges less for drink packages purchased through the online cruise planner than for the same package bought on embarkation day. On Carnival, the Cheers package costs $69.95 per day pre-cruise versus $74.95 on board. That is $5 per day per person. For a couple on a 7-night cruise, buying early saves $70. On Royal Caribbean, the pre-cruise price is typically 20 to 30% lower than the onboard price, though the exact amount varies because Royal Caribbean uses dynamic pricing that fluctuates by ship, sailing date, and demand. The key is to check the cruise planner multiple times between booking and sailing. Prices drop and rise. Sales happen. If you see a price that looks good, lock it in. You can usually cancel and rebook if the price drops further before you're sailing. The sixth hack is the one that costs couples the most money and has a workaround that most people never try. On almost every cruise line, if one adult in a cabin purchases a drink package, every other adult in that same cabin must also purchase one. This is the cabin mate rule, and it exists specifically to prevent couples from buying one package and sharing it. The problem is obvious. If one person drinks heavily and the other barely drinks at all, you are forced to buy 2 packages at full price, even though one of them will be largely wasted. On a 7-night cruise, that wasted package can cost $400 to $600. Here is the workaround. Call the cruise line directly and explain the situation. Tell them one person in the cabin does not drink alcohol at all. Ask whether the non-drinker can purchase a non-alcoholic beverage package instead of the full drink package. Some cruise lines, including Royal Caribbean and Celebrity, have been known to allow this exception when one guest is a genuine non-drinker. It is not guaranteed. It is not advertised, but it has worked for enough passengers that it is worth a 5-minute phone call. If they say yes, the non-drinker gets unlimited specialty coffees, smoothies, sodas, and bottled water at a fraction of the cost, while the drinker gets the full package. You could save $200 to $300 with a single phone call. The 7th hack is about what happens when you leave the ship on certain itineraries, and it has changed recently in a way that caught many passengers off guard. Your drink package works on the ship. It may or may not work on the cruise line's private island, and the rules vary dramatically by line. On Royal Caribbean, your drink package works at Perfect Day at Coco Cay. You can order drinks at any bar on the island, and they are covered just like on the ship. Same on MSC's Ocean Cay. Same on Princess Cay's. But Norwegian Cruise Line changed its policy in March of this year. Your onboard drink package no longer works at Great Stirrup Cay. If you want drinks on the island, you now have to buy a separate island-specific beverage package or pay per drink. That change caught many passengers completely off guard. They walked up to the island bar, scanned their card, and were told their package was not valid. On Carnival, the Cheers package does not work at Relaxaway, Half Moon Cay either. Drinks on the island are purchased a la carte at prices similar to what you would pay on board, around $12.50 for a cocktail. Before your cruise, check whether your drink package covers the private island on your itinerary. If it does not, budget accordingly. A day on a private island with a few cocktails, a couple of beers, and a frozen drink can easily run $50 to $70 per person when you are paying out of pocket. That is money you thought was already covered. The 8th hack is one that bartenders on cruise ships actively appreciate, and it changes the quality of every drink you receive for the rest of your sailing. Tip your bartender in cash on day 1. Drink package includes a gratuity. The 18 to 20% you paid at purchase theoretically covers tips for the bar staff. But that gratuity goes into a pool. It is divided among dozens of crew members. The bartender standing in front of you sees a fraction of it. When you hand that bartender a $5 bill or a $10 bill on the first afternoon, something shifts. They remember your face. They learn your name. They start making your drink before you reach the bar. And the pours get heavier. This is not a theory. Repeat cruisers have documented this in forums and reviews for years. A bartender who knows you tip in cash will prioritize you when the bar is crowded, recommend drinks you have never tried, and sometimes make you off-menu cocktails that are not available to passengers who just scan their card and walk away. You do not need to tip on every drink. The package gratuity covers that. But a single cash tip at the start of the cruise, and maybe one more at the halfway point, creates a relationship that lasts the entire sailing. Some cruisers use $2 bills for this. They are uncommon enough that crew members remember who gave them one. It sounds small. The impact is not. The 9th hack is for wine drinkers, and it is the one that turns a drink package into a wine education. Most cruise ship bars will pour you a full glass of whatever wine you point to on the menu, but if you ask for a half pour, most bartenders will happily give you one. This means you can taste 2 different wines in the time it would normally take you to drink 1 glass. At dinner, instead of committing to a single glass of Cabernet that you might not love, ask the sommelier or waiter for a half pour of 2 different reds. Compare them side by side. Figure out which one you prefer. Then order a full glass of the winner. Over the course of a week, you can work your way through a significant portion of the wine list without ever feeling like you wasted a glass on something you did not enjoy. The drink package covers all of it. You are not paying per glass. There is no financial penalty for trying something and not finishing it. Use that freedom to experiment. This works especially well at the specialty restaurants and at any onboard wine bar. Some ships have dedicated wine venues with rotating selections that change by itinerary. If you have the drink package and you are at a Mediterranean wine bar with 15 options by the glass, asking for half pours lets you taste 6 or 8 of them in a single sitting. That is a wine tasting experience that would cost you $40 to $60 at a winery on land, and your package already paid for it. The 10th hack is the one that most passengers never consider, because they assume the drink package is the only option. You can bring your own wine on board. Almost every major cruise line allows guests 21 and older to carry one sealed 750 milliliter bottle of wine or champagne per person in their carry-on luggage on embarkation day. Carnival allows it with no corkage fee. You can drink it in your cabin, at the pool, or at dinner without paying a single dollar extra. Royal Caribbean allows it with no corkage fee if you drink it in your stateroom. If you take it to a restaurant, there is a $15 corkage fee per bottle. Princess allows 1 bottle per person with no corkage fee in your cabin and a $20 fee in public areas. Disney allows 2 bottles per cabin plus 6 beers per adult with a $20 corkage fee in the dining rooms. Here is why this matters for drink package math. If you and your partner each bring a bottle of wine on embarkation day, you have 2 bottles of wine for your first night that cost you nothing beyond what you paid at your local store. Open them in your cabin before dinner. Pour a glass on your balcony while the ship pulls away from port. That is your embarkation evening, covered without touching your drink package. On lines like Carnival, where there is no corkage fee at all, you can even take your bottle to the dining room. 2 free bottles of wine on a cruise where you were going to buy a drink package anyway means 2 fewer glasses per day you need to order from the bar to break even. It is not a hack that saves hundreds of dollars, but it is the kind of small, specific move that experienced cruisers make instinctively and first-timers never think about. Now here is a bonus detail that ties several of these hacks together, and it is the one that bartenders say separates the passengers who get the most out of their drink package from the ones who waste half of it. Explore the ship's bars before you settle into a routine. Every major cruise ship has between 8 and 20 different bars and lounges. Most passengers find one they like on the first night and never leave. They sit at the pool bar every afternoon and the main atrium bar every evening. And that is their entire drinking experience for 7 days. Meanwhile, 3 decks up, there is a whiskey bar with 50 single malts included in the package. 2 decks down, there is a cocktail lounge where the bartender makes custom drinks based on your flavor preferences. Around the corner from the casino, there is a jazz bar where the bartender has been on the ship for 8 months and knows how to make cocktails that are not on any menu. On your first afternoon, before the ship even leaves port, take 30 minutes and walk through every bar on the ship. Look at the menus, look at the atmosphere, talk to the bartenders, find out which ones have espresso machines, because that is where you will get the best espresso martini later that night. Find out which ones have fresh fruit behind the bar, because that is where your dirty banana will be made with real banana instead of just syrup. Find out which ones are quiet at 5 in the afternoon and which ones are packed at 9. That 30-minute walk will shape every evening of your cruise. You will know exactly where to go for a pre-dinner spritz, where to go for a late-night whiskey, and where to go when you want a bartender who has time to make you something special. The passengers who get the most value from their drink package are not the ones who drink the most. They are the ones who drink the smartest. They order premium spirits by name instead of accepting well pours. They count their coffees and waters as part of the value. They check whether the package works on the private island before they get there. They buy early when prices are lower. They bring their own wine for embarkation night. They tip the bartender in cash on day 1 and build a relationship that lasts the entire sailing. They ask for half pours of wine to taste more without committing. They pick itineraries with enough sea days to justify the cost. And they explore every bar on the ship before deciding which ones deserve their time. You now know more about cruise drink packages than 90% of the passengers who will be standing next to you at the pool bar on your next sailing. The person to your left will be drinking well vodka out of a souvenir cup they paid extra for. The person to your right will be complaining that the package was not worth it because they spent 4 out of 7 days on shore. And you will be standing there with a Grey Goose and soda in a regular glass, a $2 bill tucked behind the bar, and the quiet confidence of someone who did the math before the ship ever left the dock.